What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Joy of Animating. I'm your host and friend Skip Marazzi here with another behind the scenes podcast for Cox in Space. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. This is where we work on the animation for a little show called Cox in Space. You can check out what we do and what it's all about at coxinspace.com. coxinspace.com. There you can find the clip of what we've worked on so far, and you can find the previous shows that we have done, where we did the drawing for for Cox in Space. We worked with our illustrator Jack Haynes over the last year, and we got the first 4 pages of storyboards done, which I am now animating, turning the clips, the pages as they were, into the clips that we are going to be seeing before us soon. One of the big things that we were doing with both of these podcasts, live streams, was to demonstrate the fact that these are 100% human made, and that there were people with intentions who were involved with the process. Human creativity was what happened with it, and that this is not a prompt. So in 2026, it seems to be an important thing to do, and so here we are doing that. One of the things you are going to notice, though, is that I am not an animator, in that I don't have training to do it. But we did need to get these animated so that we could demonstrate what it looked like, what it sounded like. It's tougher to sell a script, and it's easier to sell an idea once you can see it. So that is what we're doing with it. We had approached a couple of people who knew how to do animation, who had the skills and the training to do that sort of thing, and they seemed less interested in working for the fame and fortune of it, which is understandable. They summed up duly that it was going to be quite a process to convert what we did into what we needed done, and so they opted out of it. We do have some episodes, Flicking with Frank and then Flicking with Skip, where that happened previously. So, like I said, understandable. It is a long process, and not having a passion for the project would make a big difference in what we're doing with it. And lots of people, especially if they're the creative sort, the people who that we had talked to were the creative sort, who had ideas of their own and wanted to do their own things. Totally makes sense. They had the skills and the ability to do it, so they of course are going to do their thing, as you would. So and here, I am the one doing this thing for us at Cox in Space. This is the brainchild of both Aaron Cosbeil and myself, but has really been pushed forward by Aaron Cosbeil. It wouldn't be if it weren't for him insisting that we work on Cox in Space, there would be no show. So here we are. Here I am working on it because it brings him joy, and he's a person who likes to bring joy to other people. So glad to be doing that. I'll be working with him later tonight, actually, up on the Discord, working on in the writer circle there, to work on the upcoming episodes. 5 is the one that we're working on right now, to get that finished. We're right about the middle of that episode right now. Actually, if you guys, I forgot to mention, if you go to coxinspace.com and would like to join the conversation, you absolutely can join the conversation while I'm live streaming. You just go onto our Discord, click on go to coxinspace.com, go click on the Discord link, and you could join the conversation with me while I'm live streaming. I just, of course, ask that you be a decent person in having these conversations. And if you don't know what that is, maybe not the place for you. But if you're like, I'm a decent person, I enjoy having conversations with other people, um, then you're welcome. Um, you know, and if you're not, you won't be you won't be invited on the show. So that I don't know if that helps you. A Charles Bukowski quote that struck me again today because it always does every time I see it. But he says, or he was quoted as saying that the problem with humanity is that intelligent people, sorry, dumb people. No, I think it starts with intelligent people. Intelligent people are so um, they constantly second guess themselves, and dumb people never seem to. So uh, I do find that amusing and true. I probably misquoted his quote, but I think you get the gist of it. Um, have I talked to you about my cat? My cat Cutie, who is both quite a pain and also a wonderful delight in my life. And it's actually for the same reason. The same reason in that she's a very intelligent cat, and she is one of these beings that is curious about everything and is very much observing her world. Um, the other cat, Orange Boy, he's a very cat-like cat. He does cat things. He climbs the cat tree. He eats the cat food. He plays with the cat toys. He's very cat-like. He does those things. And Cutie, she does things that are of interest to her, which is an interesting thing to say about a cat. I've had a number of cats, and I've never actually had a cat like this one. For instance, she loves her food, of course, and if I let her eat her food, she would eat it all the time. So I have to be careful because she doesn't know when to stop with that. She would constantly eat and eat and eat if she could, but that's not the point of today's story. But she's fixated with trash. I'm not exactly sure why. I have a feeling it has something to do with how she was raised as a kitten. That perhaps she was out on the street or something, and she's associated trash with food, human food. And so she loves to get into the trash, and she will eat whatever is in there. Not necessarily because she's hungry, because she'll do it right after she ate, but because she can. She also does a thing that I would say hi to little Cutie as we're talking about her, where if she's trying to get my attention, will use her paws to tap me, or to pet and stroke. She does it especially if it's getting late in the evening, and she's a little upset that I'm up past our bedtime, and she'll let me know that it is time to go to bed. And she'll do that by looking very upset and swishing her tail and tapping me repeatedly, which I find very, very amusing for a cat who's so tiny, because she doesn't even sleep with me, per se. I mean, she'll sleep around in the same area that I'm in, or she'll go chill in the other room, but she wants to make sure that I go to bed in particular, which I think is super amusing. But she likes trash so much so that at one point I took a business card, and I picked it up somewhere, or somebody gave it to me or something. Somehow I got this business card, and absent-mindedly I folded it up twice and 3 times and 4 times. So it was, folded over itself over and over itself, and I just flicked it across the room, and she chased it, which I was like, oh, that's amusing, but then brought it back. Yeah, that was the time that she taught me the game fetch. Now, obviously, I'm a human and I've interacted with a number of animals, and I've definitely fetch as a game. And sometimes there'll be I'll have a young kitten that will do it, like a young cat will play fetch, but she's 3, and she never outgrew grew wanting to play it. In fact, the reason I started this conversation today is because right before before this live stream started, I I was doing yoga, and I hear the sound that she makes when she wants to play, and she had found a folded up card that we'd played with previously and brought it over so that she could play fetch while I was in the middle of, posing and whatnot. And and she will do this. She decides when it's time for us to play fetch, and she'll find it, or she'll make a chirp. It's a very unique sound. Now, one of the things that's interesting about her is she doesn't meow all that much. Like the orange boy, he is very talkative, and he's a meow 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 all the time. He'll meow for food, he'll meow for attention, he'll meow to say hey. Like he's a cat, right? But Cutie seems to have realized that you meow to communicate. So when she wants something in particular, she does this particular like chirping sound. And so yeah, it's just really amusing. Like I said, I've never had a cat like this, but also she could be really such a pest, because she can be she will decide what she's going to do. One of the things that she's figured out and that she wanted to do was she likes to get into cabinets, because she was curious, and so she will get inside of any cabinet. She doesn't know how to close them, but she knows how to open them. She opened a bathroom door, or the bathroom cabinet, or the kitchen cabinet. She figured out at one point how to open drawers to see what was inside them. And I've seen her do it too. I have video of her doing it. She stands up and she does this like little walk, in order to like get inside the cabinets. Again, I don't know what it is about her that makes her desire to do that or feel like that's a necessary thing to do, because it's very uncat-like, like there's not like anything in there. She doesn't even want to be in there and hang out in there or anything like that. She's not hiding in there. She just, wants to know. And so she'll do that. But yeah, so yeah, anyway, she during the equinox, I was falling asleep and I hear this like rattle, rattle, rattle. And this is not unusual. I think there's stories of cats doing this. But, there's like a rattle, rattle, rattle. It's pretty consistent. I'm like, man, what is she doing? It's gotta be Cutie, and she's gotta be up to something. Like, of course she is. Because who else would be doing that? The orange boy, when I go to bed, he goes to bed. We chill together. That's his time to chill out too, and so we're sleeping, and yeah, she's unrolled for some reason. She's unrolled the entire roll of toilet paper onto the floor. No reason, like you think one or two turns would do it for her, but no, she had to do the entire thing. And she looked up at me as I came into the bathroom, being like, what the hell are you even doing in here, cat? And she looks up like all amazed and in awe, like, oh, I don't know. It just seemed like a thing to do that I was curious about whether or not I could, sort of thing, with a cat. Anyway, so that's the Cutie cat. She's a being who is too much cat for her own good in so many ways. So I do wonder about this one, and that like I said, I've had lots of cats, and cats generally behave like cats. They do cat stuff. And so this one is so different than any other cat I've experienced, because she certainly does not behave like any typical cat I've had. And she is smart enough to say no commands and know when I'm asking her to do something and not do something. She definitely does that. But I like it. It astounds me. So one of the things. Okay. So one thought that I want to travel along while we're talking today is just the idea of like intelligence and how it seems to be everywhere. You know what I mean? Like this is kind of related into like the spirit of God or whatever, you know, the collection of everything. And it seems as if intelligence isn't localized in humans. Some people they want to have a debate whether or not animals have souls, and that question to me is actually it seems to be the question of do animals have sentience, or you know, are they aware of their surroundings? Do they make choices in their lives? Do they, you know, do they is the world real to them in the same way that it's real to us? And I would argue very much so. It seems to be very much so. This cat is doing stuff not because it's surviving, but because it wants to. And isn't that strange? You know, the cat, you know, there's no is seeming, you know, and then separate question we could talk about, but it's seeming to do things only because it wills to. Now, I say it seems that way, and people will argue, well, it's probably just its instinct. It's a misaligned instinct. Like, you know, I pointed out that, you know, maybe she likes trash because she realized that that's where a lot of human food comes from, and since she had that as a kitten, or she had to scrounge for that as a kitten, that she's really just going after the human food, and that's why she's playing with these toys and whatnot. You know, why she goes after trash the way she does. And then, you know, we've talked on the show, and I'm sure that if you are aware of human consciousness as well, you would say that a lot of what we do is just misaligned instincts, or things that we have learned or mislearned, and you know, and so that's why we do the things that we do. I mean, I would say that most people's desire to have a family, for instance, is completely illogical. That, you know, it's a biological drive that has nothing to do with reason, and has, you know, because why would you reasonably want to take responsibility for another human life unless you were like some kind of like control freak, you know, who likes to feel powerful over, you know, other individuals, and hasn't had a way to do that. I mean, that might be one way, but then you could also point out that even if that was the case, if that's the only case of the reason why you'd want to have a kid, would be a misaligned instinct about the desire for power. And how you could gain power over life, you know, how you could subject your will onto the universe in some way, right? You know, the dealing with a child is not anything that is a thankless job. It's long, it's expensive, it's tiring, and then at the end of it, they may or may not even want to be around you, right? Depending on how well you do, and the proclivities of that being that you raised. So, you know, that would be the, you know, like either animals don't have sentience, and we don't have sentience, or animals do have sentience and we have sentience. Although, you know, we can agree that there's, you know, we have a higher level of it. We have the ability to understand more and learn more. But I would say that my cat is smarter by degrees than some babies. You know, so you know, she has learned things and continues to learn things. She chooses how to get what she wants, right? And makes decisions on how to achieve those goals, which is, you know, better than some 2-year-olds. And then that's not the only place we see it. We don't. My cat's not special in that. We see that, you know, in crows. We see that in chimps. We see that in most animals. Actually, if you're into watching animal behavior, there's a lot of there's specialists for almost every type of animal. You see that they do this to varying degrees in all species. I mean, specifically the one I'm thinking of right now, because I've been seeing a lot of it. Obviously, the internet is obsessed with these as well. But the octopus is or a raccoon, right? Are huge problem solvers to get what they want and accomplish their goals. And so, and that's they don't have society and they don't have culture and they don't seem to have language, although as you get further up, it does seem that some of the larger mammals especially do have language, like dolphins seem to have certain chirps that they use, and whales too. Elephants also seem to have different blasts. Elephants grieve their dead. You know, uh, there there's there's something. I mean, there's something to be said to understanding, the consciousness of animal behavior. And I'd say that that's not really all that remarkable, unless you're coming from some really like wild perspectives. Because to me, the force of the God, of the whole everything, um, that is in everything. Like life seems to be in every corner of life, and to me that's only evidence that there is a being or a force that is very much alive in all the places. Why is this doing it like that? I don't want that tool. I want this tool. And so we see just the wondrousness of the being that is in all of nature. I wouldn't be surprised if we begin to find that it even exists in the plants. We see a certain type of sentience in the plants that are around us. We certainly see it to varying degrees in mycelium and in fungus. It might be redundant to those of you who know something about it that I don't. But within even spores and stuff like that, they seem to have a level of communication that seems to indicate that life finds a way. And so, and I don't think that's a wild statement to make. Although I have been called all sorts of things by people who are religious for asserting such things, but um, I don't think that's terribly astounding thing to assert when you look at the way that consciousness is and seems to be in so many things all around us. What are we going to do about this shadow right here? Anyway, that was just some thoughts I was having as I was starting to do this. We are getting close to having this bit finished. I have some real tricky patching to do right here, which I'm not very excited about. And so you can see I'm kind of like diddling with a lot of other things instead, because I'm afraid of how it's going to look. I think it's going to look real bad. I'm going to have to figure out how to make it not look bad enough to be a good background, or I'm going to need to cut the camera angles in some way. I think I decided that I'm not going to use the right hand side, but I don't want to limit myself to that. So I have been doing the practice of simply repeating the Psalms 23 throughout the day, and really just using it to not think of anything else. It's been really, really useful. If you were wondering how effective it's been, it's really it's so amazingly cool, because one of the things that happens is that your brain, and I didn't realize this, but apparently your brain is producing 40,000 words a minute. or something like that. 40,000 words an hour, I think is what it is. Somebody pointed out that that's the length of a novel, some novels, and so it's just like producing like all this content. And then when you think about, you when you go to sleep and you dream, like how much content your brain creates too, and so like obviously, you're doing a lot of thinking, and a lot of the times we don't even know what it is we're thinking about, right? There's just all these thoughts and feelings and behaviors that are kind of swirling around in our brain, unchecked and unmotivated. And really, what it does is what the brain's really good at doing is repeating and reinforcing the thought processes that we've had before. So if you are in a negative headspace where you're like, I'm a terrible person, or if you are, of a narcissistic persuasion where you're saying, like I'm an awesome person, or you're in the middle of a manic fit, or just you're believing religious delusions. It's just repeating and reinforcing those things, and so it's just like mulling over like all this content like all the time. And so one of the things that I found really useful is that it just silences the noise. It gives it a way to just like silence the noise, which has been really, really refreshing. Because I've been giving myself something to think about, something to actively think about, as opposed to letting just the brain go idle and create all the content that it wants to create instead. And for one, it's been great for my mood because it's definitely keeping it in one consistent place. It's a very neutral place because the symbolism is pretty neutral, although neutral leaning towards positive, because of the symbolism, because of the poem that I've been repeating, is pretty positive. And then the reinforcement that it keeps putting in, which is, you're not alone in all this. Like, you're always like in the presence of God, basically, right? That, the poem always ends with, as I dwell in the house of the Lord forever, which is one that really has been like today, what's really like sinking in more than anything else was just this idea that, if we allow ourselves to stop being isolated inside of our own brains and all the lies that our brain is producing, because that's not real. When you like the content of your brain, no matter if it's like wholesome or future tripping or like beating yourself up from the past or whatever it is, like just fantasizing, like none of it's real. Like it's not what's happening in the real world. It's what's happening inside your brain. You're the author of that. And I guess if you're like part of that, if you have like a God complex or something, and you just want to believe that you're in control of everything, I guess that's cool for you, because you're like, here I am in control. I guess if you feel out of control, in life outside, you're like, I have control at least here in my brain. But like, you got to admit, like, it's not real up there. Like it's like fake. And because it's coming from you're the one making it up. It's just like the same thing as like if you're gonna believe your dreams. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there are some things like prophetic dreams, and yeah, like dreams are really useful for like telling you what you're thinking about. In the symbolic sort of sense. But like it's not real. Not the same way as like the things you can touch and interact with here. And so. That's like, so just giving it like so it like cuts down the fiction and then just turns the focus back outwards. Has been really, really nice, because like I was saying with the way that I was meditating on just the blue and white sky, or the like colored blue, was that it's just kind of running in the background. And so all the activity of my brain that wants to like create some noise about whatever, it's satisfied, right? Like the brain's just really like, hey, what do you want to think about? And then when you let it thinks about your loss and your failure, generally in my case, or it pumps you up to your delusional successes, right? And so instead it's like, hey brain, what do you want to think about? And he's like, I just want to think about this one poem. And it's like, okay, cool, we're gonna do that then. And so it like gives you this like satisfying like feeling to like continue to think about it. And then also the good thing about how you get to recognize in that poem specifically that like we're caught up in a series of actions that we don't really have control over, and we're part of this like force that pushes us, and because of that, we can just relax. We're not the makers of our own reality. We're not the people who are driving the boat in any sort of in any sort of real way, as much as we have some influence over where we look, you know. Um, and so for that, that's been really really refreshing. And then one thing I noticed that I hadn't mentioned before, and that because I hadn't noticed it before, was the way that it also, this line's got to connect to this right over here. It also, when I need to think about something, um, there's I'm able to like immediately snap focus to it. I think I mentioned this briefly when I was talking about the way I was thinking about the blue and white sky before, and how like while I was thinking about that, I was able then to turn my focus to other things, and then just get that task done. Um, and and for that, it's been really really useful, especially as I've been having this like more like complex thought process about this poem that I'm fixated specifically on this poem, um, is because then like the poem stops for a second, that all the focus that I'd been like holding on one thing, instead of having all these scattered energies that were everywhere, were now they just snap to like this other thing. And it's like it's really cool because it feels like then when a person is talking, like I'm hearing them like more clearly, or when it's a task that I need to do, like I have the ability to then focus my mind on that specifically. And it doesn't feel like so much that like I'm coming out of a haze, or like this bunch of thoughts. I'm not being plagued by this bunch of thoughts. It's really that I can just bring it back to this one thing, and then when I finish, I can settle right back into the poem that I was thinking about again. And that has really, really helped in a lot of ways. Just again, just for mood, because like it's not really a mood, except for you're not alone, and then secondarily reminder, like you're not gonna be able to be in control of any of this anyway. Never have, never will. You're just a little thing in a big creature, part of a big creature. And so just settling into that. So when things are happening around me that are outside my control, it's like, see, there you go. And then when things are happening where like there seems to be someone who's directly opposed to me, it's like even when that's happening, it's still going to be good. There's still going to be something good about it, so just relax. Um, and that those have both been really just really great for me to like hold on to, as far as like hanging on to what is real, right, and what is just the illusions of the brain. So um, I definitely have been really stoked with it at practicing an active meditation. I forgot that I'd done it years ago, briefly. I think I did it for like 6 weeks or something like that before, and I was in a different place, so and it was for a different reason, and so I kind of forgot about it. But like just doing it in the like chaos of all life, it's really refreshing. It really is. There's been some other poems that this is gonna be a little bit tricky. There have been some other poems that keep wanting to interject to. Psalms 1 specifically is one that keeps wanting to play, and if I remember correctly, it's the one that I memorized next. So it's actually no surprise that that is the next one. But I'm kind of excited about just this one, and seeing like for how long that I can just muse on this one poem. Um, you know what? I'm never gonna need this corner of this table. I'm just gonna need it separate because I know I'm doing this upper shot. I'm gonna leave that kind of a mess, to be honest, because I think I'm just gonna use that upper area, and I want this bit to be free. But I know that I want that leg anyway. But I have this problem because I'm trying to get both these perspectives to be here, and they really aren't. Yeah, let's see if I can do it this way. And yeah, so like, and just have like that default poem be running constantly in the background. Not necessarily be something that I'm trying to think about, but just something that my mind will revert back to. the 21-day rule, which I think has been disproven. But if you want to start a new habit, you have to keep doing that habit for 21 days, um, so you can cement it. Now, there's obviously, there's all sorts of things. I think that it was like, the relapse could still happen. That is a good beginning, but if you don't have motivation to continue, then it won't continue. I think there were some of the caveats that went with that. But yeah, just for me, that's the case. One of the things that's been helpful for is when waking up in the morning and feeling tired and not wanting to do the activity, like get up and go to work. Because I'm like, what's the point? You know what I mean? I'm not doing anything fulfilling. You know, there's my life outside of this job seems to be empty. Like, what's the point of even getting up and going? Just being like, you know what? Just starting to recite the poem that, like, um, it doesn't matter so much. Like it's not like there was. You're part of this thing, and like that's all that's really happening. That you don't know where it's going. You're being directed towards what the solutions are, and since you're a little sheep, you're a little force inside of the big creature. Um, why don't you just take the things as they come and see what happens next? What's the harm in doing that anyway? Um, and That's been nice. Where it's like, yeah, all that extra thinking, all that extra whatever, just to shut it off and to, um, you know, because it seems like we have this great gift as humans, as the higher conscious beings on this planet, is that we get to perceive the future, make plans, try to accomplish, our specific goals, and what we want. And that's fantastic. I think that's just such a fantastic gift. Like, I would never complain about that because I do really enjoy what I get out of that as a human. To be like, no, I want to make a crazy salad. And I'm gonna eat that crazy salad, as my plan today. Because I do like salads. I like making salads, and I like making salads that I particularly like to make. Not necessarily that anyone else would like to eat. Like, I've been really fixated on this one red onion and carrot salad, which with mayonnaise and tuna in it, which I think is just so great. I would never recommend it for anybody at all, but I love it so much. And that's one of the ones that I'm like, yes, I think about wanting to eat that salad. So that's one of the things that, like, we as humans get to do is make crazy choices like that if we want to, and conceive of the different things. I mean, the story calculator exists because I started thinking about all the possibilities of how stories could be formed. You know what I mean? And so, like, I would never complain about the way that the brain can work. It's just that um, it it it's the higher consciousness is riding on top of a scared mammal that is completely overwhelmed by all of modern society. And that mammal that really wants to, like, rest, in the sun, and casually graze for food, to have to propagate the species without repercussions of, say, like child support or social anxieties and norms that have to be upraised, and whether or not they're doing it right. The whole like society looking at us, and us looking at ourselves as if society's looking at us. All of the potential futures and failures that could exist. I think that mammal is completely overwhelmed. Its brain is really for, again, hunting down something good to eat, sleeping with, it's the mammals that it's comfortable with, uh, you know, and then fucking around the rest of the day. That's what it wants to do. And so, especially as we've gotten into, the 40-hour work week, the ills of society, the concepts of what we can do, especially as we've overwhelmed ourselves with the amount of things that are on the internet and the amount of beings that exist and all the people that we should be caring for. We begin to freak our own little animal brains out. Um, and so, I think that we do need to take active steps to make it stop. We need to make it stop, just because we're not capable of that. And one of the tricks of the human brain is because it is so good at solving problems, is it believes that it can solve all the problems for all of mankind. And when we try to do that, I think is when we quickly find out we can't, and that's when we begin to spiral, with thinking about how we're not good enough, or how society isn't good enough, or whatever, if they would only listen to us. And that's when it really makes us spiral into all these existential crises. And so, with that, I think that we do need a concept of recognizing we do need to be able to take a break like this, like using like a tool like Psalm 23 as a meditation, to like recognize that the reality is large, time and space is huge, that we just need to stop. We need to trust that, since there is a good force that is active, and we can see it all around us because it takes care of everything, and it holds reality, together, without us being here. It has existed long before we arrived here, and it's going to exist a long time after we're gone. That we can rest in that it knows what it's doing. Like the properties of physics will continue to make the world spin, even if we're not the ones who are making things happen. Even though society is going to rebalance itself because people aren't going to stand for the bullshit, and we're going to do that collectively, and that's an instinct of society. Sometimes we need to go into bad places with society so we can recognize that fascism doesn't work. Equality for all human beings is the thing that once we team up and do that, that we get better results. So I think we have to see that sometimes in order to do that. It sucks living through times like these, but also you need them for historical points. It sucks living through hard times personally, but you need them to recognize, like, hey, that's not the place that I wanted to be. That's not the person that I wanted to be, and because of that, I want to be different. And striving for like those things instead. I think that's that you kind of need that bothness. But so that has been really cool. I would definitely recommend it. One of the complaints I've had with this series of podcasts is that, and it's been a common complaint, I've said it to a bunch of people before, so I was just sort of reiterating it here, but like just the idea that I would love to be of a lower intelligence, in order to not have to be so concerned with the everything, like seeing all the problems and trying to hope to find a solution somehow. And because of that, definitely needed a way to get into that mindset, and having an active meditation that does that kind of like actually. It dulls the brain, and I don't think dulls the brain is the right word, but it gives the brain something to do, and so I'm not like fighting it, and I think that's been really, really great for that, because the brain's not going to stop thinking. If you have the type of brain that like thinks, it's not going to stop doing that. Just because you want it to shut off, and you can't ignore it. As I was trying to like not think of anything, and I fell into the void that way instead, which was comforting in a certain way. I found that I was just, instead of I was like then stuck in whatever mindset I went into the void with, and that only deepened, instead of any solution that came out. And so it's been giving me something to really turn my attention on, so that now the brain had like a problem to solve and something to actually do. And so that has been just really, really great. So that's why I'm going to keep doing it. And I really think that like it has been great. I'm excited to talk to you about the results in like a few weeks and in a few months, although this show probably won't be going on at that time. But just talk about like, where that's gotten me. Like what the results have been. It's a really interesting experiment for me. And I'm glad to be at this place in my life where I was like, you know what, my mental health is not where I want it to be, and I'm going to take steps. Just like the same way I was like, my physical health isn't where I want it to be, and so I'm going to take steps. And so I started doing more yoga and consistently doing 30 minutes of yoga every day, along with the workout that I was doing in the morning. And so like my body feels really great. I'm like super fit, and I just I feel like capable of doing the things. And so to me, like that I'm really excited about. In the same way, I'm just like, holy cow, if I wanted to be different, the only thing that was necessary was to choose, and then decide to keep choosing, right? And so, like, how cool is that, right? The only thing stopping us from our success is us, and our desire to achieve the things we want to achieve. So. There's your positivity, and I think you guys will probably note too. I mean, like if you've tuned into some of these podcasts before, earlier on, and you're like, man, he ain't doing too good, and you're like, hey man, like now, like so much better, feeling so much better. So, in that, it's only been a few days now, so again, I'm really excited to give you the update in a few weeks, although. We'll see. This is our last panel, and with the cat singing. We're not going to have that many more podcasts. But here's my segue. Go to coxinspace.com. Click on the link there that says join the crew, and with a monthly donation, you can help push this forward. We can continue to work on the panels and have an illustrator continue to draw the next panels. And we can continue to work on those as animation. So if you want to continue to follow the journey of what's going on here, you like what you've been seeing and want to see more of it, you can help out in that way. That would make a big difference. Also, you can go to coxinspace.com. Just watching that first clip and then sharing that on your socials, that can help us out a lot too, because that's going to get it in front of the people that we wanted to see it, and that's just more people. That's really what we need, is just more people to see it, so that they can be like, hey, this is a cool show, and I'm in support. I'm a fan, So by doing that, we really do appreciate that. That helps push that forward, and that we can continue to get it in front of a producer, hopefully a studio that is interested in doing Cox in Space as a show, so that we can get our animators involved, get our illustrators on board. And like I said, we have the first half of the half of the first season written already. We're in the middle of the 5th episode, so we're halfway through, almost exactly halfway through the first season, with more to come. It is written on a story calculator, so that the back half is going to be easier than the first half. And with funding, of course, we're going to be able to do more of that, to devote ourselves more full-time to it. Right now, we're able to do about 4 hours a week. That was the same thing. We're doing 4 hours a week of writing, of 4 hours a week of drawing, and that's why it's taken so long. Is that it is only a day's worth of work for what we've been doing, and that a day per week is basically what we've been able to turn out. So a slow going. As we've been doing it, and you see with this one, I've been able to do a couple of hours a day to do this animation, to get the reanimation done. So it is slow going when we're not able to do it full time, but we are still continuing to make progress, and that's one of the things to me that has been the most important, is that the show is going on. It hasn't stopped because we haven't had funding. We're still 100% on board with that, even though it's just passion right now that's driving the thing forward. And that's the thing that I think that more than anything that people are going to see is that this show isn't quitting. It's we're not getting bogged down by the process that we keep pushing it forward. So I think that if you're around and you're hearing these podcasts, you're saying that that's the case too. Cox in Space to me is a program, is a show that really does need to exist. It seems to have a life of its own that insists on existing, and that's what I mean needs to exist. And then also I think it's a show for our times. We really need a show like a cartoon that can reach people, that is encouraging people to spread happiness. I think that a lot of people, I've shared this before, but I think a lot of people, especially who lived through the 90s, have this very dispirited view of the world that, that it's easier to be sarcastic, and it's easier to be like nonchalant, and we don't need to care for one another, and that was kind of considered passé, or whatever. But I think that we're coming to a place where we definitely all feel collectively that we need more positivity, that we need to be looking out for each other. We need to be building better communities, that we need to be showing love to one another, and Cox in Space is an example of that. And so, let's see what we got there. And so that's the type of show that that it is becoming more mainstream. That it's something that we believe is the way that society is sort of moving. Because look what negativity has gotten us. Look at what being too cool has gotten us. A lot of people have gotten hurt. And a lot of people they do not feel cared for in any kind of way. And I think that we need to be moving more towards building our communities and taking care of one another. Capitalism at its fullest extent, neoliberalism, both of which are, they're kind of intertwined right now in American culture, which is, the individual is the most important thing, I think has been really destructive for our culture. We found ourselves just being in a place where the only thing we can do is struggle with one another, and we don't trust each other, and we don't get to build a common good because we've been so worried about things like IP and shareholder value, and whose rights to what, instead of working together as a community to build better communities. And I get it in the culture that we exist in, right? If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense, and I get that in this culture, which is why that's one of those things that absolutely needs to change. That people caring for one another, that the government is the asset for the people, and not something that's built to exploit the people, would make a huge difference in that. I need to go further over that way, but I'm gonna do these test panels right here and see if I can get away with it first. And that we wouldn't be cherishing the ultra wealthy, that we would make them pay their share. The people who are able to reach the high echelons of society, they'll be the ones who are supporting the most. And that they would find it an honor to do that, versus finding that they think that it's a burden, that they should be helping out their fellow man. I don't think that that's a crazy idea at all. In fact, the basis of humanity is in that idea. The reason that communities even existed, the reason that we have any sort of townships, or any sort of counties, or anything like that, the reason that we have countries, was because there was people who needed support, and they couldn't necessarily get it on their own. They couldn't necessarily support themselves. The elderly, children, uh, those people who were yeah, mentally or physically incapable of taking care of themselves, they've always existed in society, and they've always needed the support of people around them. And that we've made it, that people, that oh shoot, okay, that we've made it that one small misstep, and you're going to be an outcast, and if you you know let's see if I can do it like that. I'm trying to make it look natural too, so like Jack was really good at drawing like these wavy lines, that kind of like looks like wood, and mine are not looking like that so much, um, but yeah, so that people would be able to contribute to society with their enthusiasm, with their intellect, that we would honor people's creative endeavors, but also their scientific endeavors, the exploration of ideas. Because I think that one of the things you see across the internet is that when people get impassioned about something, they start doing it a lot. They start finding all sorts of ways to do it more, and it doesn't matter what their passion is, but they find out how to make it better. They find out how to do more of it. They find out how to build things. I mean, if you look at, like, say, the Minecraft modding community for one, or just like any group that is focused, like fitness groups, right? And for good or for ill, this is kind of the problem, but also the example. But like, for good or for ill, that when people get into groups, they begin to form these communities, and they begin to form like better ways to do it. There was a really terrible one that I've been thinking about recently, because a friend of mine, I realized, is dealing with this themselves. But like the I think it was called like Ask Anna or something like that. But it was like an anorexic group that, like, they were coming up with ways to be better anorexics, which is terrible. Again, terrible. Only because that's just it's a hating of yourself, and that's never a good thing. Because they're trying to uphold impossible beauty standards, which men and women who are struggling with that, I'm so sorry that you are. And I wish we had better support groups, so that you would recognize that 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 you're a unique individual with your unique body shape, and the way that you are, it's been passed down from generation to generation, and people have found your body type beautiful for a long time. And just because we have these airbrush models on covers doesn't make things real. That's it's just a lie that marketing has been selling you, and that's what's making you feel ugly. Is impossible beauty standards. Not anything wrong with you personally, but when it's shoved in your face all the time, and you're told that that's what's beautiful, and you're competing with porn stars and models from across the world in your mind, because that's what we're seeing all the time. Yeah, of course, this sort of thing is going to develop in your mind if that's one of those things that you're fixated on. It's trying to be attractive and try to find a mate, and to be a part of a group. But anyway, that's off topic. But the concept of, hey, people get together and begin to work on their passions. They find all sorts of cool ways to do it, and humans find like all sorts of fantastic ways to develop these new innovations, right? And so, like, we need to give people the opportunity to do it. Like, we need to give people the opportunities to use their intellects in creative ways. I think that, again, and here's another poor example, but um, the way that scamming communities have gotten really good at being scammers. You know, the techniques that they've developed, uh, the way that they're targeting people. It's just a byproduct of the need for capital. And it's I'm not saying the scammers won't exist, but it's just like, if you would let them just explore the thing that they're actually good at, you know then you wouldn't have to deal with, say, the all the unique ways that people are trying to get money from other people, and then they could pursue the actual things that they're actually good at, which is way less hurtful to people. This is not just about taking advantage of people. But I mean, we have just like imperialism has spread this capitalism, which is this mentality all across the globe, and it just it's ugly. It's what it is. If we allow people to pursue happiness and spread their happiness, that I think that we would see it more. We would see people finding their passions. If they could get out from under the need to struggle to make ends meet, that we would find people doing just really cool things with their time. And it's not that I believe that to be true; it's something I know to be true. I know that in the moments where people are able to breathe easy, is when they pursue art and they pursue culture. Uh, you know, like that's when those innovations come about. Like when you give people secure jobs, is when they start to develop interesting technologies. Uh, when you secure funding for people to explore and to think, is when you get interesting developments in human culture. Um, and I really don't think that this has been the capitalist idea that competition breeds innovation, and I don't think we've seen that to be true. I don't. I think that you've seen more so people will try to duplicate each other's ideas and rip each other off more often than not, is what you see happen. Um, and you know, cool. I don't think I don't think that's what has made humans great at all. I don't think we've seen that being a increase to the human spirit or legacy or anything like that. Um, and you guys are hearing this from an idealist who believes that people, when given the opportunity, they will do their best. And we know that's not always the case. In fact, we know that that's not the case because we see it around us right now. That people who have had the opportunities, they instead have decided to multiply it for their own gains. And they just have decided to stack the deck in their own favor. And I get where it comes from, because it's the idea that I need to take care of my kids and my family lineage so that we can have a lasting legacy. That's a pretty mammalian thought process. It's a big monkey concept, but I think that by and large that's not the way that most people are. That's why you see a few of them striving very hard to take advantage of the rest of the people, because the rest of the people are more altruistic, and so since there are a few that cannot be trusted, we do definitely need to make it so that there are safeguards to protect everyone else who can be, so that they also have the freedom of, they have the what the founding fathers said, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that they have those opportunities also. Because I don't think that those were abstract ideals that Jefferson and Adams and Washington and Franklin were, to name some of them, were striving for. They realized that we can be better than what came before, And I do believe in making America great, but more importantly, I believe in making the world great, for the people who live here. I believe that working together as nations, will make us better. That will help us become the type of humanity that we want to become. Ones that continue to find new things, about ourselves and about the universe, and that we begin to use those tools to help ourselves, to be successful. Because we have, I mean, look at culture. I mean, yeah, you can say that there are some things that are bad, about it, and through modern culture, and there is, right? But we figured out, things like, how to protect children, and how to slow down the murder rates, and how to provide enough food for everybody, um, and or that we can provide food, for okay, that was not what I was looking for. How to produce food so that um, we don't have to depend on, just the growth cycles and the weather. We've we figured out how to we figured out how to manipulate, atoms, and heat and light. I mean, we've done some really really cool stuff as humanity, um, and that was only through the collective works of people doing their things. Uh, you know, so and I think that we have the opportunity to do more of that. And I think that it'd be a terrible legacy, if we were just the humans who ended up destroying, everything that we've accomplished because we let a few people get greedy. So that's my 2 cents on that. But yeah, I do very much believe in the goodness of humanity and, the ability to do good. And I think that we do need to take precautions against those who, will be selfish, and not allow them to take those actions, when we see it, personally, or when we see it societally. We need to stop those things right in their tracks. So. Uh, there was I'm gonna keep that thought to myself. But yeah, so I think that we do have, a lot. I think that we've made great strides as far as, equality, even though I know that we've had some backwards movement recently, with the dumbing down of the American culture for one. But you know, uh, women are more equal than they have been historically. We have respect for, different cultures more than we have historically. Um, that we have again moved to protect children more. They're not in the mines anymore, for instance, um, and taking care of them in that way. Um, that we've been recognizing that, yeah, we have definitely been failing in a number of industries, entertainment being one of them. Um, we have definitely been we have not been, great in protecting, women and children in entertainment, for one, or around wealthy people for two. But we recognize societally that, that where that has happened, that's wrong. We've been taking a stand against it. And so, we're not. It's not perfect yet. We're not perfect on, ending gun violence in America, or the mental health crisis in America. We haven't done that yet, but we've made strides to recognize that it exists. And while people in power haven't changed their attitudes or behavior yet, I believe that by and large, people across the world are recognizing the need for more, and the need for better, care and control. And while we haven't, figured out the housing crisis yet, we are recognizing that that when we let greedy people, run the planet, that they don't do a good job, right? When we let people have, ultimate power, they corrupt themselves. try to do something real tricky here. Let's see if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it, but I'm gonna try to patch in these colors here. Now it probably doesn't matter as much. It probably doesn't matter, but I can see a little bit of a line there, and I don't like it. Guys, I was sharing. Ooh, that's not what sharing. In another. That's not it at all. Okay. Um, in previous broadcasts to change the nope. How I have respect for Robert Pattinson, who I'd previously not had respect for as an actor. I didn't realize that he was talented, and that he had it going on. But I did get to see the A24 movie that came out this year called The Drama. And this is not a plug from, no one's paying me to say this, but it's really fantastic. It is a really fantastic movie. The conclusion's a little bit like whatever, but they don't have a lot of places they could go with it besides where it does go, so it makes sense. But the drama that ensues because of it is really great. It's Robert Pattinson and Zendaya, Tom. The Spider-Man, Huddleston. I think I've read his name a bunch. I don't think I've ever actually said his name out loud before. That anyway. Yeah, it's his wife with Robert Pattinson, and it's very charming. It's a very indie movie, but it works, and there's only I don't think there's I want to say they don't miss a beat, but I feel like they probably miss only like a couple. There's things that just they need to work, but everything's so much working for that film that I would say that it doesn't matter as much that there are a couple missteps in the movie. So I do highly recommend it. It was super fun. I say it's super fun in the way that I like things because the movie is called The Drama, right? And it's like intended to make you uncomfortable, and it fucking does, and it's great. It's I feel like it's some people's answer. I think it was somebody's answer to what we see in a lot of modern Hollywood. It's like really like boring at this point. It like just. Well, we want everything to work, and we want everything to be nice, and we don't want it to be messy. And I think that I think he does a really good job of that. I think he does a really good job of telling a love story. It's about a couple meeting and getting married. That's the portion of the story, and it just does such a good job of just talking about how it just like existing in the space of human messiness, and not getting mired too much in like how some student films will get like they like trying too hard to do that, and so they miss it. This one, it doesn't try too hard, and so it's able to actually capture it. So obviously some very talented people playing the characters. And so, yeah, again, highly recommend it. Anyway, that's of course going on the heels of everything previous. I think if we like A24 is like a great example. Like boo that they're moving towards using AI, or being backed and funded by I forget which large company was trying to get them to use AI, and they agreed to the deal. But I think that's really the beauty of like what A24 as a company has done, is that they're showing that there's more than just the repackaging of IPs in this, so that there are good stories to be told and interesting stories to be told. Another one, of course, is one of my favorites we reviewed on Sick Flicks with Dylan and Skip, was Everything Everywhere All at Once. which is just another fantastic story about kind of the messiness of life, but doing it in a really interesting and cool way. They tackled the multiverse in that movie too, and they it's almost it doesn't feel like it is, but it's almost a thumbing its nose to Marvel, in the way that Marvel is tackling the multiverse, and nothing matters in that, because of it. And this show demonstrates that, in the reverse, actually, that everything does matter, and matters to people quite a bit, regardless, of whether or not they have access to the multiverse. And so, what a great story it tells, in my opinion. Ugh. Where are we at? Okay, we got some time. It's coming together a little bit better than I was expecting. This I don't really like so much, because you can definitely see where that gradient's happening. So got to figure out how to get around that nonsense. It's like, maybe if I just did like bigger sweeps, maybe between the two of them. I don't know if you noticed. So I'm using Photoshop, clone, which I enjoy. Photop, I think they're doing a good job, providing the tools. But again, like with the animation, I'm not. Her head might be there. Let's see. I've never been real proficient with Photoshop. Now you might be like, what? Because I see you using it. But I only use the tools, as they're available, for what I need them for. And there are a great many other people, who continue to learn and to use, these, and know a bunch of techniques, to make things work. There's some really great Photoshop, tutorials that I've seen. The things done, in Photoshop that you would not believe. Obviously it's everywhere. People are using it for everything. And so, if you see really great digital art, it's done in Photoshop. And so, and I'd say, I recognize, that I have maybe a passing grasp on how some of the things work, but it's deep. The program is deep, and as it should be. They've been working on it for quite a while, and it allows you to do all the things you want to do. And for me, excuse me, I don't know how I'm gonna stay up for this meeting. It's always the case, like one of the things I've talked to you about with Aaron, is how I'm very excited about how one day soon, we're going to be working on Cox in Space during the day, because it will be a great place where, it will be our day job, and what a wonderful day that's going to be for us, because we won't come to the project exhausted. I think the one thing we're going to run into, at least initially, is like, we're going to hit that 2 hour, 3 hour mark and be like, oh wow, okay, this is, how do we go for another 5 hours doing the thing, or whatever. And that's something we're gonna have to work through, of course, because we've just been doing it in our free time, and so we're committed to it little by little, versus what it takes to be dedicated. I feel like, the illustrator, if they're not, if they've been like just hobbyists, they're gonna have the same sort of struggle, seeing as that 2 hours, 8 hours is different than 2 hours. Now I dedicate myself to tasks for 8 hours often, right? I've definitely done that, but sitting down and having a writing session where we have to like get it done in a day, to write that episode in a day, like the South Park guys do. I mean, they be like, they come in Monday morning, from what I understand, be like, what are we going to write about this week? And then they hit the bricks and make it happen, because they've got to get it finished to have their final draft done by Tuesday so they can have their animation team do it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, to get that thing up and running, so they could air it on Friday night or Saturday night, whenever it is. So mad respect for the work, and looking forward to that challenge. Something that hit me recently that I was reminded of, and it was put on, was this. Well, was this proverb, of course. I forget what culture it comes from. Somewhere in the Middle East, I believe. Although, don't quote me on it. But this proverb that like once you reach the peak of the mountains, there's just more mountains. So like once you hit that you think it's a great climb that you made, and it is, but there's more vistas behind it. It's actually the thing I loved about Montana, was that you could get way up on a mountain, and once you got up on that mountain, you would see that there was another mountain range after that one, and another mountain range after that one, another mountain range after that one. And so, yeah, for me, like, that's with the show too. Like, I realized that us getting the show made, or getting the show funded, is a huge first step, and we're going to celebrate it for sure. But that's all it is. It's just one mountain range that we'll have climbed, and then there'll be another one behind that, and another one behind that, and another one behind that. And that we'll just need to keep going on that process. We'll just need to keep at it. And I'm excited for that journey. I recognize that like my life has been like a series of those journeys, for sure. Oh, that doesn't work because that's exactly the same. I'm glad to have done it, and I am excited for this leg of the journey to reach its conclusion. That we'll have this cartoon that's out there, the clip of this cartoon that's out there, that people will get to hear Kate sing, and that we'll get to see Luna move for the first time. Luna is one of our absolute favorite characters. She has a really great episode, and actually the next episode, The Bitch's Booty, is one of our favorite episodes because it focuses a lot on Luna's hopefully that's saved. Luna's all right. Like how she fits into the crew is kind of what it focuses on, and her desire to be on adventures, and how it's not always easy to be the heroes that there are. Okay, that works. That there's a certain like. There's a challenge to be that, right? Like the reason that the Cox brothers are on this mission to begin with, to spread happiness, is because there's so much there's not happiness, right, everywhere, and that is something that she comes to understand along with us during that time. So, but it's she's one of our favorite characters because she's always up to some hijinks. Less less so in the last couple of episodes. Um, Definitely in the first three, she is quite the quite the character. So that's one thing we're excited about is to Kate is an actress from LA. Um, she knows Aaron. They grew up together in Ohio, but she went out and worked in LA. So she's very talented, and we're excited to get her working with us on the show to be able to do that full time. Um, and mainly, and she's the voice of Luna, and she's a fantastic singing voice, and then just a fantastic and really fun to work with, incredibly smart woman. She teaches history now, um, but yeah, she's just just to give her the opportunity and us the opportunity to be able to work with someone who is very talented and really fun to work with. So, and then give her this really fun character to play. Along with Aaron and I, of course, getting to do the voices for both Peter and Richard Cox. For us, I mean, the characters themselves, as we've been developing them, we've had some interesting twists and turns with them, things that we didn't think that they would do, that they ended up doing, and they've evolved in ways as we've played them, and then as we have written them. And so just the continuing journey with that is something I'm really looking forward to with Cox in Space also. And then one of the big surprises for me was I ran into Logan Gifford, who is one of our voice actors, and I ran into him in Louisiana as we were both in the same rehab together, and he to me was like one of the things that was really fantastic about being there. We spent a good bunch of months there together with nothing to do. There was this place that no technology was allowed. They wanted to make sure that we were cut off from everything so we could really focus on getting better. And for me, we just got to hang out with each other and another friend of ours, and the way that we made time pass is we just cracked a lot of jokes and we just made each other laugh, and so for to be it's got a whole thing here. I'm probably not going to show that corner either too much. Okay, but to come across somebody far away from the acting scene, far away from the comedy scene that I had been invested in. I was because I was in Chicago, and I was in LA also, and just far away from that, I run into this person to me who is by far one of the funniest people I have ever met, who casually, just casually funny, um, you know, and I told him about Cox in Space because we were working on the Detective Brooks show, and as soon as he heard about it, he was like, "I want to be on board. I want to be a part of that project." And I wanted him on board because I knew that he was really funny, and I wanted him to come on for like some of the voices. And so I told him about it, hoping that that'd be the case. He was as excited about it as I was. He came in and started doing some of the villain voices and secondary characters and stuff like that, and just so. It's been great, and so that's one of the things I'm looking forward to with this show is that the ability to get Logan to do character voices with us on the regular basis too, because out of nowhere, man, just out of nowhere, he'll just start doing these really fantastic voices, and without going through this big detour of going into Louisiana for seemingly no reason. I would not have run into him, and he's just in my opinion, he's going to be one of the biggest assets of the show, just because his ability to do like voices that they they're not only very different from each other, and that he can do a lot of them, but also they're very believable. Like for a guy who has never taken an acting class or a comedy class in his life, um, who is capable of like doing believable characters, it blows me away. Um, he understands intrinsically, again, no acting classes at all, but he understands intrinsically, how to make somebody sound like they mean what they're saying, and how to give emotional weight to text, and he'll do that a lot of times on a cold read. We'll be like, here, hey, here's a text. I think that you could hear him on some of the actual cold reads. We have them up on the YouTube. So if you look through for some of the the read-throughs of the episodes, if you look for those, you will find that he's just doing a cold read, and he's just knocking it out of the park with character work. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing him do work. The only thing I'm afraid of is that he's going to get too popular, and he won't have time to do the show anymore. That's the only thing I'd be concerned with working with Logan. Across the board, is that that he will be highly sought after to do all sorts of character voices. Um, he, in my opinion, is a lot like, oh God, I wish I could remember the guy's name. I want to give him Stephen Larch, I think is his name. I didn't get it right. Stephen Root, maybe is his name. The guy from King of the Hill, who was also in Office Space, and he's done a lot of work, character work, over the years. But he does these characters that, they're just so off the wall but so believable, that he's really our guy, in that department, who can do that. I can do a couple of character voices, and I can do some acting, but also I've spent a lot of time thinking about it and studying it. It blows me away that Logan he's just so naturally talented, and so that's one of the things I'm excited about in developing Cox in Space and getting it to be the show that we've been hoping for and working towards, is to be able to work with all these guys, just because they are so talented. And then of course, like, just Aaron's Richard has become such a really interesting character, and he's really done a lot as he's thought more about the character itself and how it's becoming and who it is, yeah, I'm really excited, and it's a blast to work with Aaron. We've worked together for a long time now, and because he brings so much positivity to any project he's working on, and so for me personally, like, when I'm having days that, like, I'm just like, I can't I can't do this. I don't feel joy. Like, I don't feel inspired. Like, I can't. Like, I'll hang out with Aaron, and I'll just reminded that, the world isn't all bad, because Aaron Cosbiel exists. And so, we strive to do more, that we work towards finishing this, because of that, I really don't like the color of that wall. Guys, we are getting there. I mean, we got a lot out. I have this back wall to still do, but I'm liking the way that this is all kind of coming together. It is getting cleaned up. So our set's almost complete, with what we need it to be and to do. I might need to clean up that corner a little bit, but I am glad that this is coming out the way that we was kind of hoping. So I'm gonna try to do some of this just to make it better, and hopefully this won't look like garbage. The hater in me was like, too late. But, you know, uh, I'm not striving. I mean, I'm striving for perfection, but I'm only working to get it as close as I can to that. And that's the best any of us can do, right? So there we go. That's kind of what I was looking for. Just to give it that little bit. It hits warmer and hits cooler up here. Um, so yeah, I kind of forgot that was like one of the goals of this podcast too, is to just kind of like encourage you wherever you're at in your creative process. That maybe you're not perfect at it yet, and maybe you got a long ways to go with where that's going, and that's okay. The most important thing you can do is to keep doing it. Do the thing that's bringing you joy, for you personally, right? Because you're the only one who it's really going to make a difference to at the end of the day, right? Um, maybe we want to influence the world, and maybe we want to have like recognition and stuff like that, maybe. Um, but if you're not doing it first and foremost for the joy that's bringing you, then you're never going to be bringing the joy to other people either, So, um, and striving for a goal of perfection is the value, right? That's what we go for, and then we have to take a step back and ask ourselves is if it's good enough for what we're trying to do. Does it capture the thing that we were trying to do, and most importantly, is it done? Is it complete? Because I think that's what stops a lot of people from getting their projects done, is that it's not turning out the way that they want it to. It's not perfect, and that's the thing. It will be, it won't be, it won't ever be perfect. But that's no reason to stop. What's more important than it being perfect is ensuring that it's complete enough for somebody to take a look at and judge, actually. And I think that's the hardest part from most creators, right? Is that if it is done, it's going to get judged, and it's going to be judged for all of its flaws. And I think that's what stops people from finishing the work. And I'd say that's not the reason to stop. That's actually the reason to keep going, is because if you stop before it's done, then people can't have that judgment because it doesn't exist. And you have to be the type of person who is sturdy enough to be able to take whatever people say about it, and take it for what it is. It's just people's opinions, after all. And the thing that's going to matter most is, are you happy with it? Strive with it until you're happy with it, and then finish it in that way. Speaking of which, I was working on that novel, right? That I've been sharing. I'm like, hey, after this, I think I'm gonna work on this novel that I've written a couple of versions of before. And as I was working on it, I was looking at it and I was looking at the numbers and whatnot, and I was like, why am I writing a novel? I hate novels. I don't like reading them. Why would I want to write one? And I think that's what's been stopping me more than anything else in writing it, because I was like, I don't like reading this. I don't like where I don't like these long interludes into people's thoughts. I don't like beefy descriptions about fucking trees and food, and long songs about this and that. I don't like it. I don't like it. And so I was like, hold up. Why am I doing this? And then I was like, right, that's right. I don't like novels. I would never want to read this book. That's probably why I'm getting stopped up in writing these books, is because I would never want to read a novel. The ones I picked up in the last few years, even by people who are really good writers, very very few of them have kept my attention. and many of them there'll be books on tape, and it's only because the story will keep going without me having to put in the effort, because otherwise I'd be like, I literally just can't. I just don't. I don't want. I don't care. Like I just don't. I don't care. I don't care how writers use words. Um, now that I just the way that they write. Anyway, so I'm working on it now as a screenplay instead, and I'm like, because that's what I love. That's the type of the media that I actually enjoy. We'll see what happens, and maybe it's more suited for that anyway, and maybe that's why I was never really working in that way. That you don't have you don't have the medium that way. But yeah, I much prefer that format to write in. That it's much more action oriented and less like thought process oriented. It's much more dialogue oriented and less, again, thoughts and description oriented. And I just that type of writing, I'm not dogging on it for people who like to write novels or read novels, but that is just not it's not interesting to me. So because of that, I was like, why am I struggling to do this thing? And I think it was because I held this long idea from a long time ago. My dad really likes to read novels, right? He loves getting into them. And I always had this idea that I would write, a great novel that would somehow like make him want to read it. And then I just like shake my head. I was like, but I don't enjoy, I don't enjoy novels. This is really for somebody else. And so, there's no reason for me to continue working on something that I just don't enjoy in the hopes that somebody else will enjoy it. So I get that in some ways went counter to what I just said, because I was like, if it's not finished, then you can't tell. But then also I'm like, but this is not like I'm striving for a perfection that I desire, right? Though something that is the sort of art that I will enjoy partaking in, right? And so with that, I'm like, yes, I really like, I love the way that stories, like I love the way that movies move. I love the way that they appear on the page, and like the way that characters develop. Like you don't get this like deep inner world in a movie. It has to be everything that you can see and hear and whatnot. And that's really, I mean, that's why I loved improv too, is that, there wasn't all this like heavy back work to like figure out who these people were. It's only what existed now in the moment with them. Oh man, I cannot see the end of this line at all. I know it's here somewhere, but I can't find it. There it is. And so like that's that. I just I don't know. We'll see how it goes, guys. Anyway, I do have another project to work on after this that is a writing project and not an artistic project. But I am excited to see where that goes and what happens with it, more so than I have been. I have been kind of dreading the process of doing that. And I think that's one of the reasons I keep starting and stopping and restarting that project. I've written different variations of it, because it just was never really sitting well. There's a lot of extra stuff that kept happening. Now it's like, yeah, that's cool and everything, but like that's not the part that's interesting to me. So anyway, I'll let you know how that goes. Although again, probably not, because it's gonna be the project that I do after this one. So since this project will be over, probably not. But I don't think I'm going to be doing live streams of that writing process. I've done it before. If you guys are looking for a course on the how to use a story calculator, I did a project that was that's up in the courses section of the Wigwags. It goes through kind of like a step-by-step process of how you would write using a story calculator. And it is, I forget what the story is called, but it's about a guy breaking into the Philadelphia Zoo, and I think it's called Quokka Quokka, because it's about a semi-sentient quokka that's bringing like world peace to everybody, even the greedy zoo owner. So check that out if you're interested. I don't think I'm going to do one of those for this script, but I don't know. Maybe I'll let you guys tune into that process. it is a little bit different of a process. It takes a lot more. There's not so much like free flow of thought because it's so focused on creating. Whoa. Okay. Okay. Hopefully that's not permanently messing anything up. I'm gonna zoom out real quick. Okay. Like, obviously, since there's a lot of writing going on. Oh no. Okay. Now, while there's writing going on, I'm talking about the writing and not like this where I can place visuals and talk to you about, like the fate of the world and stuff. the situation as it be. So. So we'll see. As things turn out with this project, how that all turns out. Yeah, that's. I mean, I can't say that I've always wanted to make movies. But the more that I begin to watch them and the more that I begin to like notice like the process and stuff like that, the more I've been fascinated with it. And I have always been focused on like entertaining people, and telling stories that way. So that has been the case. And I really gotta do something about this because it's way too light. Let's do it like this. Hopefully this will do that. Nope. There we go. And I can't say that I want to like be a movie maker or whatever, but I do enjoy writing and telling stories. So there is one of the reasons I'm like I don't know if I want to do all that. It's just there's so much, there's so much politics and negotiation and all the things that have to happen. Like I've kind of always liked the whole Gene Roddenberry method of they got their start, they kind of all work together with themselves, and like that sort of thing. And then in a lot of ways, I guess that's kind of how a lot of production companies really do work too. Is they figure out who their people are. I mean, especially like if you look like a Tim Burton, right? Who works with his same people quite a bit once he got the recognition that he did. There's just so much more that goes into movie making than making a film, I guess is what I'm getting at. And that is fine in a lot of ways, is necessary in a lot of ways to make things happen. And then at the same time, it's just like, to me, I'm just like, but what about the movie part? I'm making the movie part. There's just there's so much more, especially in today's modern landscape of to deal with. The interviews, the press tour, the distribution rights, all of that sort of stuff. How's it getting to streaming? What formats are we filming in so it can, all that other stuff too. So, at the heart of me, I'm really just a simple dude who likes to make stories and make art, quietly make art with friends, and I want people to see it, of course, but then there's just so much more involved with it that I'm just like we'll see where it all goes, right? In the far future, that's being played in an interview, and they're like, yeah, those are the words out of his mouth before took over everything. and did all the things that he did, which is cool. That's fine. I'm open to the future being different than I expect it to be, and I'm interested in what it could be and what it will be. Uh, Also, I think Christian Bale said that too. He's like, like you see me get fit, ripped for these movies, and do these stunts and all that like that. But he's like, at the end of the day, I'm just a regular bloke who likes to have a beer, like kick back and watch the game. Like I don't want to deal with all this extra fuss. And I'm like, yeah, Christian, I fucking get you, dude. So. I am glad that he was cast in Empire of the Sun at like what 8 or something like that, so he became the artist that he is today. Because I do appreciate most of his films quite a bit. He was actually he's in the Little Women that's my fondest Little Women, one of Susan Sarandon. The woman who's now in Stranger Things, who for some reason I'm blanking on, who worked with Tim Burton a bunch too. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. I want to say Naomi Watts, but it's not Naomi Watts, obviously. She has a different name that's unusual like that. Y'all can comment below if you would like about that. You know who I'm talking about. But it also has the Spider-Man. Wow, this is another terrible way to reference her, was Spider-Man's girlfriend, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. She's in it as well as the young one. And Claire Danes is in it. For some reason, I remember Claire Danes' name. But that Winona Ryder, for crying out loud, Winona Ryder's in it. And Susan Sarandon. Yeah, and Christian Bale is whoever the love interest is in Little Women. But yeah, just so he's my favorite. He's one of my favorite actors for sure. I think I mentioned on the show, but American Psycho I think is one of the funniest films that he's ever been in. I think it's one of the funniest films that exists because of the comedy, the sheer comedy of that movie, and specifically his performance in the comedy of that movie. I think really makes it. I sat through Christopher Nolan's Batmans because of him. And I think he does a very passable job, especially in the second one. I like him in The Fighter. I think that he does a great job in The Fighter. Or with not Mark Ruffalo, the guy who was Marky Mark. Yeah, he does a fantastic job in that movie. The one I haven't seen, just because it hits way too close to home, because I lived through that time, is where he played the warmonger, who was the advisor to President Bush. I'm sure he does a great job. I'm sure it's a fantastic performance on his part. But I'm just like, like I lived through 9/11. You know what I'm saying? Like it just, and then just the whole, everything that it went down because of it is just so awful. And that it was done on purpose, and that it was using a stoolie that we placed there politically, that we had funded the uprising in the Middle East, and then decided to take out one of our own, like placed, like planted like government agents in the Middle East, and blame the war on him. Just terrible, dude. I'm glad that these movies exist so that people can witness it and to recognize that like how America has gotten to where it is. But yeah, it's the type of thing that I'm just like, yeah, I know it's bad. I know it's bad. I'm just I was there. So I did watch the Thor movie with him in it, where he's the God Killer. because I was hoping he would give a good performance, and he did give a good performance. The movie's okay. I mean, Marvel movies are okay. They're what they are, pro America war propaganda. But you know, they're gonna keep being what they are, right? So that's what you get in every single movie. So it is what it is. But he did a good job for what he was given. All the nerds, of course, will be screaming. It wasn't like the comic. Like he could have had a whole freaking story arc. But it is what it is. I think that's mostly going to be covered up. I'm going to add a couple lines down here. I think I'm going to be about done with it. Yeah, we are coming to like the last few minutes of the show. So thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate you all being here to catch this and to witness the fact that this is all painfully being done by hand. You know, I think in a lot of ways it is easier to write, type a prompt and be like, show me the kitties and whatnot. But you don't get the same character. Uh, all AI does is look back. All it can do is create things that have been made before. And that's all it can do. Large language models are only capable of doing that. They can regurgitate what they've seen. And I'm taking work that is original and making it do things that are original that haven't been done before. Maybe in a lot of ways the style has been done before, or maybe that this is not necessarily a unique process, since there's a whole group of people who have redone manga in this way, and so that's true. I would give you that. I mean, you can make those claims, 100%. But this is completely unique work in itself. So. That portion is the part that we like definitely are happy to point out on this show, and we'll keep pointing out with this whole process that Cox in Space is a work by humans for humans. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here doing it. We are going to use our trauma like a good artist does. That's what we're going to use to make art, people. We're not going to use gallons and gallons of water and mess up people's ecosystems and overheat the planet in order to do it. We're going to use our need for attention and the fact that our parents don't love us enough. Didn't love us enough to make the art. So yeah, that's that's how we're gonna be doing the Cox in Space. So I hope that you have enjoyed this ride so far, and that you are inspired to continue to do your own art and continue to make and to build, to discover new things, to push forward even when you're not feeling up for it, to do things that inspire you and that make you happy. Because that really is the point, right? To make the world a happier place really starts with you. It starts with you being a happier person and you deciding to make things that inspire you, and that make you laugh, and that make you feel like you've done something and changed something. You know, and that you push through those difficult spots where it doesn't look like it's gonna work out, and maybe it doesn't work out, but you did it because you wanted to, and because there was something burning inside of you that required this action to be taken. So hopefully, nope, I won't do it. Hopefully watching this, watching me go through the process and struggle in the same way that any artist does, doing it painfully, step by step, inspires you, because one of the things you're going to notice here is that It might not be perfect, but it is what I wanted it to be. Uh, I did the work to make it a certain way, and it became that way. Actually, truthfully, that was the reason for me why I had steered away from AI. There's a bunch of good reasons, that I listed earlier. That they are harming the planet, that they are stealing people's work in order to make them. Um, they're trying to take creativity away from creative people. But ultimately, I was just unhappy with the results because at the end of the day, I would have to go back and redo a whole bunch of the work in order to get what I wanted out of it. And at that time, it was just like, well, dang, if I have to redo all the work, I may as well just be doing the work from the start. And so that's where, for me personally, I'm like, I'd rather not. I'd rather not use an artificial intelligence and just waste my time. If I'm gonna waste my time, I'm gonna waste my time myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna be the one doing wasting it personally. So, and then no loss there. So. But yeah, we are. It looks like we're coming up to the end of the show, and we're going to be wrapping this up. So thank you so much for tuning in. I am Skip Marazzi, your host and friend here on a behind-the-scenes podcast for Cox in Space. If you want to check out what we're doing, you can always go to coxinspace.com. That's coxinspace.com. Check out what we got going up there. That clip, previous shows. You can comment. You can find our Discord. You can go to our Patreon, and we would appreciate it if you did. I'm going to tune out for today, but I'll probably be tuning in the next couple of days, and hope you're doing well wherever you're at. So be well, and we'll see you.